Now let's talk about variables and data types. The most basic explanation of variables is keeping things in their respective storage. For example, let's consider the jacket, books, and paper documents. This analogy is commonly used by books, instructors and teachers, professors, and many other people use it. So if you are in a room, when you enter in a room, you have books, you have paper documents, and you wear some jacket. And where do you put your jacket? Of course, in a wardrobe, right? How about your book or books? Of course, you put in the shelves. And the documents you will put inside the table drawer or in the table drawers. So there isn't much difference between storing data in application versus storing things in the real world. The most important thing is to keep everything in its designated location. In programming, the container that stores the data is called a variable. Now, you will be wondering, how shall we define what type of data shall be stored in which container, right? We use data types to define the type of data to be stored in a particular variable. So let's look at some examples of data. 20 is an integer number. 20.5 is a decimal number. B is a single character. Sharp is a word made of 5 characters and is called a string. So let's recap. 20 is a integer number. What type of data is program? So string. Great. Now, in this point, you know the basic types of variables and data types that help us to store data in programs. So our next topic is storing data. As we already know, numerical data can be stored as integers, decimals. It's simple to understand the difference between them. Integers don't have any decimal part. Take a look at some examples of integers. And these are also examples of decimals. In C#, we have two basic types of variables to represent numbers: integers and decimals. The big question is, where do we store them? Let's say we have number 5, integer, and we want to store it somewhere in our code. For that purpose, we have variables. So what is variables? It is basically a container where we store things, just like we saw that a book goes on bookshelves and a jacket goes on wardrobe. The same also applies to computers. We use variables to store our data. In real life, we might put our clothes in different places. However, this can't be the case with computers. By rules of programming, we have to put our clothes in our wardrobe, and we have to keep our books on our bookshelves. Everything must be placed appropriately. So for our data that we want to store, we need to choose the right types of variables. Types of variables. We use integer type of variables to store whole numbers. The keyword is int, int, int. For storing decimal numbers or decimal types of numbers, we use decimal variables. The keyword is double. If we want to store a single character, we use character variables. Keyword is char. In the case of storing words or a sentence, we use string variables. Keyword is string. At this point, you already have familiar with basic types of variables. So our next topic is working with integers. See you in the next video.